Welcome back to Your Magnetic Bestie Podcast,
where faith meets mindset to help you live your best God-centered life.
I'm Dante.
And I'm Ari. And we're your favorite hosts with Your Magnetic Bestie Podcast. Talking about being magnetic, tonight is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is, of course, love. Who doesn't love a good love story? And I think we both have learned from multiple experiences in our life. We're both not married yet, are we?
This is true.
What's more magnetic than finding the love of your life, right?
Wow.
Or healing from it.
That is so true. And you know what's so cool about this topic is that there's so much that the world tries to tell us in regards to what is magnetism. How do you attract the right mate?
Yep.
We know right now that the most important thing to us is finding a God-centered relationship. Yes?
100%. And having a God-centered relationship starts with a God-centered relationship inside of yourself first, right? So being truly connected to the divine, to God, and having that relationship, that is the true love that we share with each other, with everybody around us. So how can we find love or expect to love others if we're not showing up for ourselves first? Real love starts with self-love from the inside.
That's so true. And this is exciting when we can share this time together, talk about really important things, and learn how to heal from previous experiences and move forward in a really powerful way that will enable us to magnetize.
I love that. And you know what? I just love being real with the audience because the reality is we are not married, right? That's just the truth. So we're here talking about our experiences and also helping to and knowing and understanding that there's so many people out there that have been through the similar things than us, but we have experiences that we want to talk about and share so that others don't make the same mistakes we have, and that together we can grow in love and in faith so that we can attract the right partner in our life, right? And that starts from within.
We know that this podcast is about becoming the best version of ourselves and then inspiring you to do the same thing. Ari, why don't you tell our besties what we have in store for them during this episode?
Yes, Dante, I'm so excited. In tonight's episode, we are diving into a real story about finding strength, hope, and love again. We are honored to be joined by Dr. Eileen Díaz, a doctor in clinical psychology, a Christian relationship coach, and the author of In the Midst of a Storm, a guide to healing after separation and divorce. So if you've ever had a broken heart, this episode is definitely for you. So we're so excited to bring Dr. Eileen Díaz into our show tonight.
But before we do that, we're going to take a short break and come right back with Dr. Eileen.
Welcome back, everybody. We are so honored to have Dr. Eileen Díaz here with us tonight. Thank you for letting us interview you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We're very excited.
Thank you.
Yes. Dante, do you want to start off tonight's episode?
I would love to. Dr. Eileen, thank you for being here. And I want to share with our besties some things about you and what inspired you, because we know that we talk about inspiration, about going to the next level, how we encourage and empower each other. So people are going to be encouraged and inspired by your story. Tell our besties a little bit about you and what inspired you to write this to help other people heal.
Thank you so much, ladies. This is so much fun. I just want to let everyone know that when I want to go back to what you said earlier, that we got to find love, right? We have to love within, and that's how we're going to find love. But if I may, I encourage everyone that the only way you're going to be in love with someone is going back to our Creator. Wow. He's the one that loved us first. So I just want to encourage everyone, yes, we could find love within ourselves, but we only could love to a certain capacity. And if you're not healed, you can't love 100%.
Wow.
But if you go to the Creator who created you and showed you love first, you're going to fall so deeply in love with Him that it's just going to exude love.
Wow, Dr. Eileen, that is powerful. I'm so excited to get to know more about this. How did this book fall into your mind, or God give you this inspiration to write this?
Well, this is my personal journey, and I want to share with everyone. If you see in the cover, I was wearing a wedding dress, and I did this purposefully because I was in the middle of I was engaged. And I was 40 at the time. I'm going to share my age. I was 40 at the time. And I was excited because I thought I met the love of my life. I was going to get married. We were going to have kids. And this was it. A godly man, everything I ever wanted. but I had to walk away. I turned around and I just gave it back to God, and I literally had to walk away because it was not the relationship that I wanted, and that was heartbroken. Especially being 40 and, you know, the stresses of the world, and everybody's telling you, what are you doing, when are you gonna get married, when are you gonna have a family,
Right.
and
Been there, done that.
so I had to walk away, and that moment is when I gave my life to Christ. And at my 40th, which I started reading the Bible at that time, walking away from this relationship, it was about a year and a half later, my ex came back, believe it or not, and he asked me one question: did you ever write the book? And I said, no, I haven't written the book. He goes, you need to write the book.
Wow.
And I'm here to help you.
Wow. Let me ask you a question.
Whoa.
That's big.
Your ex wanted to help you?
He did.
Wow. Do you see how God can work in the most mysterious ways?
Wow. That's really deep. If you don't mind me asking, when he came back and asked you that question, what conversation did you have with him prior to your dismantle of the relationship that he knew that you wanted to write a book?
Well, when we worked together for about 2 years. I met him, a little backstory. I met him when he was going through a separation.
Wow.
Okay, and
divorce?
I knew that he wasn't ready for the relationship. As a therapist, I know, but he kept insisting, no, I really want it, even though his actions spoke
Wait, pause.
differently.
You were a therapist while you were dating him?
Yeah, I already had my
Okay.
doctorate degree. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so I already knew that he wasn't ready. And knowing that, I wanted to believe that it was going to work. Again, reaching my 40th, I really wanted this, and I overlooked a lot of the, as we call them, the red flags. And one day he looked at me and said, why are you with me with someone who's so inconsistent? So for me, I have a prayer. And I'm going to share the prayer with you if you don't mind.
Please
So
do.
in the beginning of every relationship, I always ask God, if this is the person for me, right? And then I will say, show me X, Y, Z. And I'm very specific. If this is not the right person for me, I want, again, specific, X, Y, Z. I want to see it. And I want to see it so big that I have no doubt that this was sent from you.
Wow.
And when I was praying, because he was showing me so many inconsistencies, even though he said he wanted it, I did the prayer. And his response one day, we were driving, he turned out of the blue and said that. And I said, okay, God, but that was it.
Wow.
And that was my decision to walk away.
Wow.
And then a year and a half later now, he came back, he said about the book. And I asked him, why you want to help me? Because he said, if the book was given to my ex-wife at that time, he would have been able to mend the relationship with his ex-wife, with someone that was going through that.
Wow.
But because he was not in the right state of mind, he said, but you have to send this message out to a lot of ladies because it will heal, and then a lot of people would know what to do moving forward.
And that makes so much sense, because how many times, besties, let's be real. Let's be real right now. Do we look at a situation and scenario and say, there's so many great things about him, but, well, everything else but, and then we have this pressure, whether it's maybe you meet someone at church, and so everyone says,
Wow.
oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is a godly man. How many people say, you're not going to find another one like this? They're not a lot of guys. They have this scarcity mindset. And we are all here today thinking about having an abundant mindset, because
Correct.
God is an abundant God. When we go outside and we see the trees,
Yes.
we see millions of leaves. When we look up at the sky, we see millions of clouds. When we look at the grass, we see millions of blades.
So are you saying there's millions of men?
So, yeah, it's tough out there. However, God has someone perfect for you. Everyone says, Eileen or Doc, I'm looking for Mr. Perfect. Well, Mr. Perfect doesn't exist. Only Mr. Perfect for you. There's a perfect for you.
I knew it.
How do you know that, though?
How do I know that someone's perfect for me?
Yeah.
Because God created me. And God created you. God created you. He knows what you like, what you don't like. He knows what is in interest. Now, this is what, personally as well, you look at the package. See, I went by, oh, okay, this is what I want. And he came in that package.
Wow.
However, I didn't look at the inside.
You manifested the physical instead of the internal.
And then I wanted to make it work. And I always encourage ladies, like, what size shoe are you? And I'm a size 6.5. So a 7 is not going to fit me, and a 6 is not going to fit me. I need someone that fits me. Someone that you might not get along with because of what you're looking for will be perfect for someone else. So everyone is out there. It's just we're trying to make it work. We're trying to make it fit.
How did you get to that conclusion? So, like, after your ex came back into your life, he helped you write this book.
He did.
Right?
I mean, we argued a little bit there, but I kept telling him, this is my book, my experience.
Right.
But he did. He helped me because he said he felt, he believed in me so much, saying, the way you go, he was seen by a lot of therapists as well, psychologists. He goes, the way God uses you has to be, a lot of people have to know that you have this way of approaching the situation, your techniques of how to handle situations, the way you love unconditionally, without a doubt. Ladies need to know that, because the number one reason why relationships fail and men do not come back is because hearts are being broken, and then here comes the ugliness, he called it.
Wow.
And then the way you heal, and a lot of relationships will heal if a lot of ladies will follow and listen and not really pay attention to what's being displayed. But if they're a godly woman, they will handle the situation different.
Dr. Eileen, share with our besties, what are some of the key points in this book that will help them to heal and to move forward and to find the love of their life?
Good question. To heal, there's a process that we use when we lose a loved one, right? I don't know if you know the loss, right?
Is
the
it
stages.
like shock, grief, mourning?
Well, Kubler-Ross created this steps. It's called DABDA. I don't know if you heard of it.
No.
It is usually 5 steps of how to get over a loved one. Now, would you agree that when you're going through a separation or divorce is a loss?
Yes.
Even if you wanted it. And I learned that very early on, years ago.
Even if you wanted, you were the one breaking up, you mean?
Correct. I learned that very on in my field when I was giving therapy to. I was young, and I'm having therapy sessions with ladies that are divorced 10 years, and they're still crying.
Wow.
And it just came to me, it's a loss. Even though they wanted it, it was a loss. So what came and God helped me understand is, we have to go through the stages correctly. There are 5 stages, and it's called DABDA. And the first one is denial.
Denial.
Okay, so we are denying.
I'm good at that one.
Yes. So we're denying.
I got that one down.
And then we have anger. All right, this is the anger stage.
That's you. I'm just kidding.
No.
True.
The anger, and a lot of people get stuck. Now, wherever you are at, you get stuck. The next one is bargaining. This is when you bargain with God, or you bargain with the person.
Wow.
And you start changing, going, if I only do this, he'll come back. Okay?
Oh, man.
Yeah, okay.
Interesting.
Yes. The next one is depression. You realize now it's coming to an end, and you don't want to accept it. You might stay focused on that.
Wow.
Rarely people go to the last stage, which is the acceptance.
So they either stay in the anger stage, the dispute stage, or the bargaining with the partner.
That makes
God stage.
so much sense.
I mean, would you agree?
Absolutely. I've been through a few breakups in
if
my
you
life,
go
and-
back and you look at all your relationships, you can see, and what happens is that whatever stage you're stuck, you'll bring it to the next one.
To the next relationship?
Yes.
Give me an example.
For example, if you're angry, right? When your next relationship, any little argument, you're gonna react the same way you did back then.
Wow. That's
So you're angry,
fascinating.
and it has nothing to do with the person. Yes, maybe they didn't treat you right. Yes, the situation didn't go your way.
But it's that trigger.
But that's the trigger. And then you'll bring on that baggage that we call baggage, right? We'll bring it on, and you'll react the same way you did back then because you never process it.
Right. So then we project from the previous, from the emotions that we were feeling.
Correct.
The trigger, the projection, and then we become in that cycle. Makes so much sense.
So this is what I tell couples, and when I meet with them, how can you love someone when you haven't even let go of the last one, and you can't love 100% if you're half in it?
That's so good.
You can't love 100%.
Right.
So a technique that I use is, this is where my ex came in, and he said, you have to show this technique. This is the number one technique.
Tell us, girl. Tell us.
Is the love 100% technique. All right, ladies, so I'm going to tell you, okay, it's the love 100% technique. And when I was reading the Bible, it states in there, you have to love the person who's hurting you the most.
Wow. Forgiveness? So you were saying the healing technique? That's the
Yes.
second part of your book?
Right. It's
Tell us
the
more.
so it's called the love 100% technique.
Okay.
Now, in my journey, which I explained, I started reading the Bible and I read it. And it was, I grew up in church, right? But I left the church when I was in my 20s. And this situation brought me back to church.
Wow.
Brought me back to God, and I started reading the Bible again. So in the Bible, it just came, God showed me that I aligned with what he was saying, which is love those that persecute you. You can love someone who's good to you. That's easy. We do that every day. But to love someone that's hurting you. So that's what I implement in the book. So that's what he told me I had to convey to everyone, to show everyone that we have to love 100%.
So how do you love somebody when you're not with them anymore? When you go through a breakup, how do you apply this healing technique when you're no longer with that partner?
That's exactly what I was just thinking about.
Wow. Yeah, I'm curious.
Okay.
How
myself and
do
for
you
everyone else.
really do that 100% forgiveness? Like, is there a special protocol?
Well, first, you only love to the capacity if you understand that God loves you.
Okay.
Okay? So if you know that God loves you and you truly 100% believe that he has the best for you, well, you're going to love that person because you're going to see that person not as a person at that moment
That hurt you.
that hurt you. They're
But as a
going through
child
their
of
own.
God.
Exactly.
Wow. That's deep.
That is.
Exactly.
That's
So
powerful.
So that is the hardest part, because also working with different couples and relationships, I see how they banter, go back and forth. They use the kids, the money, somebody will forget the bills, and they start going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So then I tell ladies, why are you doing this if you really want him back? And they will tell me, I want to make it difficult for him.
Interesting.
And I'm like, but if you make it difficult for him, how do you know he's coming back because he loves you? Or just because now you just made it difficult for him to move on. So you're forcing someone to be with
Right.
you.
Wow. Entrapment.
Exactly. So,
Instead of love.
and how does God tell us to love?
By loving ourselves first?
Love him. And he gave a free will.
Yeah, I was going to say to do it freely.
Freely. He doesn't force us.
Wow.
And if we're supposed to emulate the relationship that God gave us and we trust that he has for us, then if this person in front of you is hurting you, then remember Judas. Maybe that relationship had to fail so that you could find your purpose, your destiny, and your relationship with God, even though it might hurt. Now, he might come back years later.
So when Judas betrayed Jesus, you're asking us to emulate that relationship. If somebody betrays us, Jesus still loved Judas, and we should still love the people that betray us.
But also, the kiss of Judas meant what for Christ?
His crucifixion.
And led him there. His purpose.
Wow. I have goosebumps.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I know it hurts. And I tell ladies, I know it hurts. So I explained it. I did it on my own. And I explained that when we were going through our breakup, I left the house. And I left everything. He didn't pay anything. He just didn't want to. I paid everything, even being away from the house. I continued to pay everything until it was a point that I said, okay, I agreed to pay this much, I agreed to pay this much. Then little by little, I started doing things like I removed my name. And, I did everything amicably, even though he was not the kindest to me when we were breaking up. And he was going out and doing whatever. I still did what I had to do. I was paying everything.
Wow.
And he had his kids. I didn't want to disrupt the kids coming and visit, so I left all the furniture.
Wow.
And it was not until maybe 5-6 months later that I started saying, okay, I'm going to start removing myself. And I started talking to him with the plan. He didn't want to talk about the plan. That's fine. I did the plan. And I just informed him. And I did everything. What do you want to do? Didn't care? Well, then I took care of it. But I did everything amicably, so I could never be like lashing out.
And are you saying this is a Like the process that you went through, that's how you were showing him love because you didn't want to do those things. You did them because you were loving him anyways.
I was showing love regardless. That no matter
Wow.
what you were doing to me, my character never changed.
Wow. That is so
I
good.
never changed character. I show love.
I was
no
just
matter
thinking
what.
of that word right now, character.
Yes.
Character. Besties.
Yes.
Character. That is huge because ultimately we're only responsible for one person. And that's who?
You.
Yeah,
Just you.
ourselves. We're only responsible for our own behavior. And we know that even through pain, if we keep our character, keep our authenticity, and Ari, what do we talk about all the time? We talk about being the highest version of ourselves, who God
Absolutely.
created us to be.
Yes.
And to not conform to the world, right?
Right.
And what is the usual conforming? Don't let him do that to you.
Exactly.
Thinking with your
Why
flesh.
don't you show him? Why don't you teach him a lesson?
Exactly.
And then we get with our other girlfriends and sometimes girlfriends just want to help because they see their friend hurting.
Right.
But when we stay grounded, when we stay grounded in who he is, who he's
Exactly.
created us to be, it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy.
How did you do that? How did you stay in that frequency of love, that technique that you're obviously developed by doing it yourself? How did you show up for yourself and for him every day, even though you didn't want to?
I'm glad you asked. What is the number one thing, ladies? I want you to, and besties out there, I want to know. What is the number one thing you want to be remembered by when you walk away? Or when the relationship ends? What is the number one thing we want?
They'll regret it for the rest of their life.
You want to hear that confirmation that you are going to be missed.
Wow.
You want that
Interesting.
validation. But when you're arguing, he's telling you you're this, you're that, you're this or the other, right?
Right.
Now, ladies, I've worked with men for over 20 years.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you a little secret. They don't think like us. They don't
A lot
think
of
like
doctors
us.
confirming that.
Yeah. They don't think like us. And everything that you're doing is the opposite. So I tell ladies, I'm like, for a perfect example.
I'm so curious now, besties. What's the opposite they think?
Okay, so if you're in a relationship, you're married, life happens, you get kids. Number one thing, you don't take care of yourself.
Right.
Ladies have to understand, men are visual. It's not a bad thing. God created them that way. They're visual.
Right.
Then you say, I want to lose weight. They buy you a machine. Now you get mad.
Oh, I see exactly where you're going with this.
They're
Coming up with solutions.
They come up
and
with
then
a solution focus, and you just want a best friend to hear you out. They're not your
Interesting.
best friend. They are, but they're not, because they're going to come with a solution.
Wow.
Okay? Then you get a divorce. Now you go to the gym.
Right.
You're thinking,
I'm going to show him.
Hey, thank you. I'm going to show him. You know what he thinks? Tell me what you think he's thinking.
Why didn't you do that when we were married?
Oh,
Bingo.
now you're trying to find a new man.
Bingo.
You'll do it for another man, but you won't do it for me.
Wow.
So did you love me?
Right. You'll
So
do
did
it.
you really love me? Wow. You created so much headache in the home. You argued day and night.
I have angel bums.
You made me feel so bad about myself, wanting to help you, wanting to help you. You argued with me, you made me feel bad about myself, and now you go to the gym for someone else, and guess what he's thinking? I'm never going back with you. He lost all respect for you.
Wow.
That makes so much sense. But when our minds are
Retaliation,
anger
retaliation,
or depression.
anger. I'm gonna show him I'm better looking than the girl that he's looking at, or he thinks he's gonna remember me. And the number one thing that we all want is validation. We all want to be the girl that got away. We all want it. And let me tell you, ladies, I'm gonna chime in. I'm gonna give you a little secret. Do the polar opposite of what your friends are telling you, and he'll come back.
Wow. Which is what?
Which is
She's like, okay, come on.
Which is love 100%. Forget about what the tit for tat. I name that. It's in the book as well. I call it tit for tat. Stay away from the tit for tat. everything that you want to do the polar opposite. Because this is what the man is going to think. And correct me, I don't know if I'm wrong. When you do the polar opposite, he'll be shocked. Because that's not the norm.
Right.
And now
Always keep him guessing.
he's going to be like, what just happened?
Right.
She's not arguing with me. She's not debating with me. She's not taking the kids from me. Everything that he is ready to fight with you on, and if you show him, okay, we'll do that. Let's communicate. Oh, you want this? Let's do this. Oh, you want that sofa? Take the sofa. You want the bed? Take the bed. I'll buy another bed. When you show it doesn't matter, guess what? He's going to walk away and go, why am I leaving her?
Wow.
So ladies, if you want to know if he came back to my life and we're together, we're not. He came back with the purpose of the book. And after that, because again, I love myself 100%, and I got the validation that I needed, which is I did everything correctly, and I was waiting for God's purpose to show me what that is. I didn't want him back. I didn't need him back. I was good. Even though now I'm in my 40s and still not married or have kids. But I believe that God has a man for me. And
Amen.
And I strongly believe that he will make himself known. And I will not suffer in the process. Because in the Bible, when you read it, God puts it in the man's heart to find me.
Wow.
And he knows exactly what to do with me. I don't have to wait to tell the man what I want.
Wow. So this has been one of the most powerful interviews ever.
Thank you.
Because it's so interesting, right? Like the biggest thing out there, people we're all born for communion and relationship
Correct.
with others, right? We all want to be loved. We all want to love, and that's also the hardest thing when your heart is broken. Finding love, getting it, and in the process of love. So tell us towards the end of your book, how did you? Where does this book leave us, and where does this end?
I'm sorry, I'm getting a little teary because it just brought me back, and I'm emotional because I was so distraught. Emotionally, physically, I mean, walking away from a dream, walking away from a marriage, engagement.
Wow.
That I literally cried out to God, and I'm like, and that's how it ended. I'm like, God, where are you?
Wow.
And I heard his voice. He goes, I'm right here. So on that note, I left it.
I love that.
I left that's where I left it. Because I wanted everybody to see that if you give, he's right there listening. You're not alone. You'll never be alone. So, yeah.
We're here for it, babe.
Thank you. So that's what I ended my book with, acceptance. I went through the process of acceptance. It's okay. If God wants me to be alone, I'll be alone. But I'm not lonely. Okay? And I have a purpose. If he's going to use me for the purpose to heal others, amen. I needed the kiss from Judas, which was him. Oh, please forgive me, he's not Judas, but let me just say, I needed...
The metaphor.
Yes.
Right.
I needed that situation for God to use someone. Because remember, God uses people, and so does the enemy. And I always encourage people, you decide how they're going to be used.
Wow.
I could have looked at it and said, he was the enemy, he's destroying me, and I could have been stuck. But instead, I looked at it like, thank you so much for coming in my life. You gave me encouragement. I heard God's voice when you said, you need to write the book. I wrote the book. Thank you so much. God used you, and now I can move on.
Wow. Do you think he's moved on?
I believe so. Yeah. And I pray that he does. I pray for everybody to move on after you heal.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because-
I agree with that too.
Because everyone deserves to be loved.
Absolutely.
Everyone deserves to be loved. And
That's beautiful.
and God created marriage for that. To be, right? To show God's love in that relationship. So everyone deserves to be loved. And if it's, and I think I mentioned it to him or someone else. I said, it's okay for us to love one another, but not to be with with one another.
Right.
Find someone that loves you the way you want to be loved.
I agree with that. And I think one of my main prayers now, and I've really adopted in the past year, is in that prayer, because you can love someone, but you're not a fit like in a romantic love, in a partnership, right? So when I ask God, I want the highest good for all parties involved because it's not just me.
Correct.
And now, many times, it's a man who has children, who has an ex, who has an ex-wife, ex-girlfriend,
Yes.
a mother of their children,
Right.
right? My children. So now we're talking about all parties involved. It's not just me. It's not just him. It's multiple people. And I think that when we have that prayer, it gives you a whole different perspective.
Correct.
Right? And you can look at things in a different way and see how God will work through each situation.
And it's okay to walk away.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, it's okay. It's okay to walk away. People think, but we love each other. Okay, but is it purpose? God said that He created marriage for a purpose. Are you both healed? So you could see each other for who you are.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That's
Dr.
deep.
Eileen, thank you so
Thank you.
much for sharing your heart with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
I can't speak for the audience, but I know that for Dante and I can speak for us. And you've healed us tonight in many ways. I will be definitely reading your book twice after I've already read it once. And to
Thank
look
you.
forward to putting these practices into my personal
And you know what I
life.
was thinking would be really fun? Besties, what do you think? Should we, after everyone has an opportunity to read your book and to watch a podcast, should we have her come back with like some Q&A?
That would be amazing. What do you think, besties? Should we bring Dr. Eileen back?
Nice.
Let us know in the comments below if you
Yeah.
want episode 2 with Dr. Eileen.
Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it. I
Thank
appreciate
Do
you.
you have any words of advice for our audience? Any closing statements you'd like to make, Doctor?
There's so much. This is what I encourage every lady. Be okay to be alone. Love yourself. And when I say love yourself, genuinely love yourself. Get closer to God so that way you're not in a hurry. Life is so stressful. Life is always moving so fast. Everyone is telling you what you should have, could have, would have done. Just you're in your own race. God will bring everything to pass in His perfect timing. And I've learned this myself. I would never have imagined I'd be going through this if I didn't just trust God for His path, because He has opened so many doors for me that I would never have guessed.
Wow.
So just truly heal, take the time to heal, and get to know Him on a personal level.
Wow.
Amen. We're out of time, besties. Thank you so much for joining us during this episode with Dr. Eileen.
Thank you.
Thank you, besties. If you're interested in grabbing a copy of Dr. Eileen Díaz's book, In the Midst of a Storm, click on the Amazon link below. Support her purpose and in yours in healing. We wish you the best of luck in your healing journey, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Bye.
See you next time.